The weapons that you can craft from the Lagiacrus might be one of, if not the best weapon in the game right now, especially for enemies that are weak to thunder. Not only is the raw attack on the higher end, but it also has a great amount of white sharpness and decent elements that can be amped by its unique weapon skill. The unique weapon skill is Convert Thunder Resistance, and this thing is insane. A portion of your thunder resistance is converted into element damage. The crazy part about this is, in the current state of the game, two viable endgame armor sets, those being the Arc-Tempered Radau and the Lagiacrus' armor, both have great thunder resistance, amazing armor set bonuses, alongside some great and meta armor skills. Unlike the Mitsune weapon skill from Title Update 1, there's a bit more build variety here with this weapon. For example, Greatsword gets focus. This is amazing because 2 levels of focus means you can use the 1 slot to get that level 3 focus, and now you open with a level 3 and a level 2 decoration slot that you don't have to use on focus. Longswords and dual blades get power prolonger, and the list goes on. During testing, I was able to cap the element damage to 600, but we don't even need to go that far to get the most out of this skill. For dual blades with this build, we're going to be sitting without coefficients at 293 attack, effective 100% affinity, and 548 element damage. Because of the way that dual blades are meant to be played, max might is not great for it, so we don't always have that consistent 100% crit without latent power. Getting to that 540 element is super easy. Before we go into the nitty gritty, I just want to show you the potential damage that you can do, up to 170 on the training dummy. And although that 170 damage looks really nice, the best part of this build is actually how consistent it is in terms of doing damage, and that's what Element is good at. But before we talk more specifics, I want to get back to how good the Lagiacrus' weapons are just at base. We just talked about one skill of 2. In the right encounters, this weapon definitely outperforms RTN weapons and might be the best in slot by far. And although I cannot confirm this myself, I've heard that multiple monsters had the elemental weaknesses adjusted, so that way they take more elemental damage in Title Update 2. If so, this weapon just got a lot more valuable than it already is. If you are able to confirm, let us know in the comments below. Because of the weapons' already high sharpness, I feel comfortable not using Master's Touch or even Razor Sharp level 3, even on dual blades, and that's a crazy statement to say. What I recommend instead is to use the 1 slot and the 2 slot to get critical boost level 3. And then for the final slot, let's amp up the elemental damage with the element boost level 3 plus critical elements. For all other weapon types using this build, outside of dual blades and bows, you are gonna be able to get 100% affinity very easily. You can even get 100% with bow and dual blades, but it won't be as easy as being able to utilize maximum might, which this build has. If you're having a good time, support your boy by hitting that like button and subscribe for more Monster Hunter Wilds content. Thanks. For this build, the armor pieces that we'll be using is 3 pieces of Arc-Tempered Radau and 2 pieces of the Lagiacrus' armor. Each individual piece are as follows: the Radau Helmet Gamma, the Radau Chest Gamma, Lagiacrus' Gloves Beta, Radau Waist Gamma, and the Lagiacrus Pants Beta. With this setup, we get Radau's armor set bonus, Radau's Voltage, which increases our latent power duration from 120 seconds to 150 seconds. Then, because we have 3 pieces of Lord Soul, we'll get access to Guts, an amazing skill that makes you take a little bit more damage but gives you an attack boost of 5% that is added on top of your base attack value. Not only that, but Guts will let you take 1 lethal hit and survive once per life, a super valuable skill. And then on the Lagiacrus' side of things, we get access to Azure Bolt 1. After hitting a monster a certain amount of times, the skill will inflict a burst of thunder damage that does interact with resistances. From testing, the average amount of damage you deal is probably around 50, every 50 or so seconds. That's because this skill has a cooldown. After the lightning strikes, you'll also get 15% affinity for 20 seconds, and once that 20 seconds is up, Azure Bolt will begin to go on its cooldown of 30 seconds. And once 30 seconds has elapsed, you'll start to generate buildup for that thunder damage again. For dual blades, you'll rock this super fast, but for other weapon types, it might take a little bit longer. Once we slot in all of the decorations on screen, we'll have these following skills. Weakness Exploit level 5. Weakness Exploit level 5 might seem excessive if you are using a different weapon type, but for dual blades and bows, Weakness Exploit level 5 is one of the main ways we're even gonna get close to 100% affinity. At level 5, we get 30% affinity when hitting weak points and 50 when hitting wounds. Thanks to the Arc-Tempered Radau armor pieces, we're gonna get level 5 latent power. By taking 130 damage or being engaged in a fight for more than 2 minutes, this skill is gonna activate for 150 seconds with this build. While active, we get 50% affinity, that is huge, and reduced stamina consumption, a godsend for dual blades and bows. The armor set will also provide 3 levels of maximum might for 30% affinity when our stamina is full, and level 3 stamina surge to help us regen our stamina when we go in and out of demon mode. For this build, we're going to be using the burst charm for 2 levels of burst. On activation, most weapon types will get 80 elements damage and 10 raw attack. Alternatively, you can also use the Adrenaline Rush charm. At level 2, when the skill triggers from dodging an attack, you'll get 15 attack. For the showcase, I'm just trying to stack as much elemental damage as possible, so I go with 2 bursts on Adrenaline Rush. To showcase how minor the difference is, here is the damage on the training dummy using 2 levels of Adrenaline Rush and 1 level of burst. At max damage, we get to deal 171 with the last hit of Blade Dance. Compare that to 2 bursts and 1 Adrenaline Rush dealing 170 damage, and the difference is that minor, 1. Another factor to consider is how easy it is to activate burst compared to Adrenaline Rush. With dual blades, you press one button and burst is active, compared to the more matchup and skill dependent activation of Adrenaline Rush. For the last set of skills, it will be up to you. I added in 2 slots of Thunder Resistance for an additional 12 Thunder Resistance to scale with the Lagiacrus' weapon. Just like the previous example, if you were to take out 1 slot of Thunder Resistance and put in 1 slot of Constitution for better stamina management as you play with this build takes a very negligible hit in damage. So negligible that I'll show you. Instead of doing 170 with the last hit of Blade Dance, you'll now do 169 with only 1 slot of Thunder Resistance being used. Of course we say that, but the longer the fight goes on or the stronger the enemy is, the more those little negligible differences will add up. If you look at it from a different perspective, having more constitution or better stamina management means that you'll be able to more easily dodge through attacks, which means you'll proc the Demon Dodge boost and Adrenaline Rush more often. In Title Update 2, the damage amp from the Demon Dodge boost has been adjusted to amp elemental damage a bit more than raw damage. Even with all that said, the age-old adage still applies. The best way to win any fight is to hit the enemies and not get hit. Because you're going to be spending a lot less time on the ground, you're going to be spending more times hitting the enemy, which might overall increase your DPS, even though statistically it is lower thanks to your lack of Thunder Resistance. And the less you get hit, especially against these very powerful Arc-Tempered and Tempered monsters, the less stressed your teammates will be as they fear failing the mission due to carding too many times. Anyways, that's the Thunderlord build. It vaporizes anything even remotely weak to Thunder. It is crazy how fast this build shreds through monsters, tempered or not. If you have your own spicy build that you would like to share for the Lagiacrus weapons, let us know in the comments below. And on that note, question for you all. How are you enjoying Title Update 2 so far? Are the new monsters challenging for you? Personally, I've been having a great time fighting both the Seregios and the Lagiacrus. I was pretty apprehensive towards the underwater portion of the Lagiacrus' fight at first, but with how they implemented the encounter, my fears have been alleviated. It's fun, it's brisk, and most importantly of all, it's super cinematic and gives you this feeling of awe and wonder. It also helps that the armor and weapons for both of these monsters are worthwhile to chase, and they both add meaningful nuance to build crafting in Monster Hunter Wilds. If you're looking for more fun builds to try, check out this video on screen right now. My name is Varsona, and I'll see you in the next video.